What's up, guys? Today is going to be a little bit different. Today may be the most important version of the tutorials I've been putting out because it's going to be walking you through exactly what you need to get started. You have to have a tripod. You have to. There's no way around it. You can try to do it handheld, but you will have a lot of shake and you end up having to introduce a lot of grain because you have to shoot your ISO high. And so today's walkthrough is going to be a shorter video, but it's probably going to be the most important one that I have on my playlist. So check this out. A Manfrotto Tripod. Now this is one that kind of, the legs go in, they pop back out. Now what's important about this is the pistol grip. You see right here at the very top, right there, you have a little place where it levels out. So in that bubble right there, I can see exactly where my leveling is. So my camera's on there and I'm getting that perfect. There it is. When it's right in the center, that means that it's perfectly level. Now, what's important with that is that if I have a tripod that does not have this and it just has the attachment right here, that means that when I have a camera on here, I have to adjust each individual leg to get it where it will be level. This pistol grip allows me to where I can just take it and move it whatever terrain I'm on, whether the surface, because some houses are like, if you got a pier and beam, some houses are not very flush, so I could take this and move it and I'll be immediately, I'm having some issues here, I will be immediately leveled out with this pistol grip. That does not come standard with the Manfrotto tripod, but it is a Manfrotto 322RC2. So I'll put links in the description where you can see all that. Now I'm gonna put it on the tripod. We'll get started. First thing you will need to hold all of your stuff is a bag. I have right here different compartments where everything is split up. I have my camera right here, pocket wizards I'm gonna show you in a minute. I have slots for lenses, have my charger, I have cleaning supplies, and then I have my 20 millimeter that I always shoot real estate with. And I have a little cleaner thing. This little cleaning thing, which will blow off dust on your lens, take it, you squeeze it, blows the dust right off. So you don't have to touch the lens, your fingerprints end up smearing on there. This is a nice easy way just to real quick blow it off, get it done. You can even open up your camera, take the lens off, do it in there, get some spots off in the mirror. So this right here is the 20 millimeter lens by Nikon. This will transfer across whatever you have, whether it's Sony, Fuji, whatever. Get you a nice wide angle lens. This lens right here was very inexpensive compared to like some of the L lenses like Canon carries, or even the more expensive ones like my 24-70. Could that work? Yeah, but the 20 millimeter lens has never given me too much distortion because you don't want to go super wide with like a 12 or a 15 because then you have really super long walls that go into a very small point at the very end, and that's what wide angle does. So if you find that sweet spot, which I found that either 17, 18, or 20 was what I could afford at the time. 20 is perfect. But I've never gotten a complaint from any realtor saying, I wish you could go wider. As far as like personal preference, that I wish I could have just got back a little more. Maybe a 17 millimeter would have been perfect. But in reality, the 20 millimeter has never done me wrong. Here on Amazon, I'm seeing that this exact model right here, the 20 millimeter 1.8 ED model, is coming in at just under 800 bucks. Now, that's expensive if you're on a budget, but compared to other ones that are a 14 to 24 millimeter, a 2.8, being $1,600, it's half the price. Having a fixed lens, being able to go, now, would you ever use a wide angle lens at 1.8? Most likely not, unless you're doing some sort of up close to plants, which is not a bad deal. I've done it before. It gives you a wide range. Like the other day I had an agent and he said, hey, I want my sign to be in front of my building. Can you take a photo of this and have it blurry in the background? And I said, absolutely. I stuck this lens on, knocked it down to 1.8, shot it. He was very happy with the results because it gives you that shallow depth of field, but still a wide shot. For an artistic take on things, it can be very useful in a lot of situations, but primarily you want it just for real estate. Now, this is not the only type of lens that exists. Tamron is a great brand that usually has more inexpensive lenses. So a 20 millimeter will be exactly what you need. The 1.8 is just an added bonus. The first thing you need, obviously, is a camera. You're probably asking yourself, do you need a full frame DSLR? The answer is no, you don't. So do you have to have a full frame camera to do real estate? No, you do not. Mirrorless is the new revolution of camera. So whatever camera you have, if you already have one, this is for people who already have a camera. If you have a camera, get a good decent lens that's between a 15 and a 20. Doesn't have to be a prime lens. There's a lot of zoom lenses, but they end up costing more. Another piece of the puzzle, you have your camera, you have your lens. So this is right now, this is what I have. I have my 20 millimeter, I have my camera. Find something that works for you. If you already have a camera, find a good lens. That will make or break your photography. The next piece of the puzzle is this. Now this is Photo. If you don't know anything about Photo, they're top of the line, super pricey, and I could have, my dream was to do studio. That being said, I still can with the equipment that I bought, but it broke the bank big time. This right here, this little piece that has different, can have different numbers on there. If you have A, B, C, and D, 1, 2, 3, all these that going across there, where you can have, I don't even know how many combinations it does, as far as like how many lights you can have set up, and independently control them from your hot shoe right here on your camera. This is what I have on top of my camera. So I have a camera, a wide angle lens, transmitter that sends signal to my light. So that's the next piece of the puzzle. Do I have to have this type of light? No, I don't. But this is a battery powered studio light. I actually was going to open up my own studio and see, watch the light. Woo! It didn't work out, and instead I ended up getting into real estate, which was more steady money than a studio would have been. That being said, go through it one more time. We have our camera. We have a good wide angle lens. And this was comparatively a cheaper option. There are cheaper. Look at Tamron, they're really good. I have my transmitter that actually this came with it, but this was $500. The light was like $2,500. There are cheaper versions for like $400. Cactus triggers, which I'm going to talk about triggers in just a minute. This will make it where you don't have to touch your, and this too right here, don't have to touch your camera when you take a photo. Because in low light situations especially, the reason I point out the tripod first, then you get a camera, or a camera then tripod, whatever. You have to have a way to trigger it without touching it, because if you have the camera like this on a tripod and you touch it, you'll still get a little bit of shake. And what you're doing, what your settings are, you start at 400 ISO, 1/8 of a second, and f-stop at 6.3. And what that does is give you enough light, you can see in your live view, give you enough light to be able to have the ambient light in the room show up. And if you watched any of my other videos, a link will be right here to those, and you can watch those and see exactly how I shot it. Now this is a golf counter that I bought on Amazon for like, I don't know, it's like $5. And I do that because I need to keep track of how many photos I'm doing. Since I'm doing the flambient technique, and I'm doing one shot for my ambient, one shot for my flash popping off in the ceiling, and then one shot, depending on how many windows there are, 1 or 2 for that, I'll lose track if I don't have something keeping track of how many I take. So every time I move my tripod, it's another click. Take the photos, do everything I need. Well, crap, how many photos do I just take? I only took 1. Move the tripod, boom, again. So that'll help you keep track and not okay, if you are taking 25, 30 photos, that's delivered number. So you'll probably take about 40 to 60 photos for doing window pulls and all that stuff, depending on the size of the house. So you have to have, for your clients, which are the agents, a number that you're saying, I'm going to deliver this and you're going to pay me this. You have to have that initiated first before you can just start popping off shots, because you need to know what you're putting out. So another thing, this is also Photo. You do not have to buy the most expensive thing there is, but I buy good quality stuff because this is my business. And what this does, this takes it goes right on top of there. You lock it in. So while I'm on the field, the reason I like this too, and I also have a white sock I put over that. It was like $8 on Amazon. It just diffuses the light a little bit and softens it. So while I'm out on the field and I'm walking around the house, I have to carry a stand to go put this on to set it up. So what I do, I put it on the ground. And I'm not worried about that white sock getting dirty because I know there was like $8 on Amazon. Right now it has a hole in it. It's got a brown ring right there, but it doesn't affect the light and there's no reason to replace it yet. Keep that in mind. If you get something a little bit bigger, it'll pop the light and spread it more, which makes if you have a smaller light, I think this is 500 watt seconds, which that's how they measure the light. There's other ones that is made by a company. Their models are Explorer 600, and I think they have Explorer 400, which is 400 watt seconds and 600 watt seconds. One's a little bit smaller and one's bigger. They have things that, I don't know if they come with it, but I know you can find attachments very easily so that you can be able to set that, and then you won't have to have the extra price of a stand, so you can spend it somewhere else, because if you want a good stand that's going to be dependable like a good tripod, you're gonna have to spend $200 or $300. That being said about the tripod, do not waste your money on a cheap tripod because you're trying to cut some corners. I did it once and I had a Nikon D3X and that camera cost me over $6,000 when I first bought it in 2012. When I was buying a tripod, I skipped on a quality tripod because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And so what happened is I was by a pool, it was one of my first shoots, and I had the camera on there and I didn't know that the time that I had it, it had been wearing away on the little plate on the bottom of the camera. And when I was by the pool, I was walking and it fell off. I tried to catch it and I missed it with my hand and it almost went in the pool, but it smacked the head of the camera right here. It smacked the head of it on the concrete and there was nothing I could do. And my camera stopped working and I finished up pretty much all of it, but I kind of pushed it back together and it started working a little bit, but it gave me problems after that, and I was forced to buy another camera. I nearly cried, but if it would have hit my hand, it would have went into the pool. Not only would I have lost a $6,000 camera, I would have lost a memory card too with all the photos on it and a job. Make sure that you're taking the time to really look at the reviews on the tripods. Invest in a name brand tripod. It's very, 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 very important. Just like I tell you in my tutorial videos, that safety shot is so important. A tripod is just as vital. You have to have a good one. That being said, on the triggers. All right, so we have now the camera. We have a lens. We have a light setup. Light setup is important, but you can get, I think they're Young Nuo flashes, and I've heard they're pretty much disposable. It's a lot cheaper to do that than it is to buy this huge pricey thing right here. Do not do that. Don't. Learn from my mistakes. Don't do it. Next we have, now these are the more expensive triggers. I have this little, I think they call it a monkey clip, and what it is you stick it on the back of here, boom, and I clip it to my belt. And so what that does, it frees up touching anything. This hooks directly into my camera. This one hooks into the camera. This one is on my belt for this little clip. These are if I hook it to extra lights. I bought a pack with 4 of them just because. Okay, come on. If I ever have a multiple light setup, like some extra speed lights and setting them up on little tiny stands, you can get pretty cheap stands for like 20 or 30 bucks for these little tiny speed lights. That's okay to skip out on. But if you're having this, if you buy one of these, don't do it. If you buy, I love Profoto, don't get me wrong, but you don't need to do it starting out. If I have this on a little tiny light stand, it's gonna end up falling over or collapsing. It's heavy. So I don't want this on a cheap stand. I want my other Manfrotto stand that goes up to 12 feet tall. I want that one to support this weight, not a little cheap one. So we have triggers. Now these are Pocket Wizards, the +3s. They're a great investment. I have dropped them. There's some scratches, there's some dents. They are very durable, but they're also expensive. So what I would recommend, now this is not expensive. This little clip I think is $18. It comes with a couple of, where you can peel off the back and stick it to something, just to make it very easy and accessible. Because if you're holding this in one hand, you can't try to be doing the trigger over here. It gets complicated. So one hand here, pop, pop. So triggers are important. There are things called cactus triggers. They are inexpensive comparatively. And so just starting out, you need things that will get you by until you get more jobs. If you have a camera, use the camera you have. If you have a lens, make sure it's a wide angle. If you don't have a wide angle, you will probably have to invest in something that will work, because you have to have a wide angle for real estate. You have to, inside or outside, because you want to be able to get the whole entire front of the property. You want to be able to get the breadth of a bathroom, or the from corner to corner when you're looking into a living room. Realtors want that. They expect that. The second to last thing on the list, a Wacom Tablet. This thing right here, I plug mine in USB. You can have it where it does battery, and you can plug it in and it'll do wireless, but there's no need for me to use wireless. It comes with a little pin that has soft keys and stuff on it, to where if I'm wanting to have an option, I can assign a certain option to that and click that button, and it'll show up on the computer screen. Now this one last thing is very important, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you've noticed that when you pop off a flash on brown ceilings, I think my last video was about brown walls, and there's one with brown ceiling, brown walls, brown and reddish floor. This right here will solve a lot of your problems. See this right here? That white side? Put your light on a stand, or your speed light on a stand, you stick it up and let that white light hit this white surface, and it'll be like you're bouncing it off a white ceiling, and it'll cast a soft light into the room that is all brown. It will be a lifesaver, and you could use it for portraits and stuff too, because it's a 5-in-1. It has all this, the white and it has a silver. So headshots, it's very versatile where you can use it in almost any situation. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, click the bell notification so you can see every time I put out new videos, and I will see you guys next week.